Well, hello, America. Tonight I have to tell you that your freedom of speech is under attack. America's most precious right, the one that leads directly to freedom of religion and freedom of the press, freedom of speech. The supposed watchdogs of our republic being brutally and viciously assaulted. Here's what happened just today. Jake Tapper asked Robert Gibbs on the plane today about the White House's war on Fox News. Gibbs responded, quote, "We render opinion based on some of their coverage and the fairness of that coverage." Tapper then says, that's a pretty sweeping declaration that they're not a news organization. How different are they from, say, ABC, NBC, Univision? Gibbs then says, you and I should watch sometime around 9 o'clock tonight or 5 this afternoon. Oh, I hope you're watching. Again, if I get anything wrong, call me. We've chronicled the White House onslaught against Fox News over the last few days. It has intensified over this last weekend with the president's two main men, David Axelrod and Rahm Emanuel. By the way, we now have confirmed sources inside the Beltway confirming that this whole thing is that man's idea. Rahm, yeah. Well, they were on CNN, I think, virtually using the exact same words to smear Fox. See, that's what it means when you don't have anything to back it up. Smear Fox on their various Sunday talk show offenses. Where is the rest of the so-called Fourth Estate on this? Are any of them crying foul? Thank you, Jake Tapper, for actually calling them out. Is anybody challenging the pathetic nature of these attacks? Does anybody see this as a really bad thing for our republic? Has a single one of these watchdogs, and when I say watchdogs, I mean this. I want to show you. You know, when you think of a watchdog, because that's what they're supposed to be, they're watchdogs of our republic, right? Here's the press. Right now, see, look, it even says press. Oh, it's really scary, huh? Look at, she's like shivering. She's so afraid. This is our press now. Wouldn't it be better to have like a really scary watchdog, you know? They have dared to hint the attackers of this channel consistently during the news broadcasts that they say you've got to present both sides. Really? Well, I think we do here. Did anybody dare even talk about the Pew Research Center? They found that Fox's coverage of the 2008 election campaign was the most balanced of any network for the presidential candidates. Yeah. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Yeah. They also pointed out, in fact, I should say, Hillary Clinton pointed out that Fox News treated her more fairly than the others. Here's what she said.
There were a lot of times when I appreciated the commentators and reporters on Fox.
Has anybody pointed out that if it's opinion or perspective that the White House is concerned about, they might want to look into the embarrassing thrill-up-their-leg bias of MSNBC, the network who's owned by, oh my goodness, GE. I wonder if they're going to benefit over at GE for the global warming stuff, for the energy and the health care. Who knows, huh? I bet that watchdog will figure it out. Isn't the CEO of GE on Barack Obama's economic advisory panel? Boy, that doesn't seem like it's a problem, does it? This isn't about Fox News. Sadly, the other news organizations know that, and they are silent anyway. They've either become such cowards that they're willing to play along to get along, or they're enjoying their new role as lapdogs for this administration rather than watchdogs for the republic. What is this about? Well, it is about a multi-pronged war on freedom of speech, and it is waged by progressives on every single front. We showed you this last night, but oh, there's so much more. It is happening all over in our, oh boy, see now, if the chalkboard goes down, this is a White House plot to make my chalkboard not work. It's about your freedom. And here it is. It's happening everywhere. First, let's start at education. It's happening in the education system. I mean, while you're at work trying to put food on the table, your kids are being indoctrinated at school. You know this. All are equal in his sight. Aren't these the things that we used to have our children say about or sing about Jesus? I mean, now we can't even sing about Jesus at Christmas, but your kids are learning that it's Barack Obama that decides equality. As early as elementary school, our kids are now being taught that capitalism is wrong and even evil.
Then along came the corporation. Now the reason the corporation looks bigger than the government is that the corporation is bigger than the government. Of the 100 largest economies on earth now, 51 are corporations. And as the corporation has grown in size and power, we've seen a little change in the government where they're a little more concerned in making sure everything's working out for those guys than for us.
Yeah, that's the one part of this that I agree with. What was that network in the... I can't remember now. Heaven forbid, while they're spooning this nonsense into your kids' brains, that they fail to tell them that all of the new legislation that has been bought and paid for by unions, global corporations, and special interests is right around the corner. Maybe they don't tell them these things because they're too busy teaching your children about cross-dressing. Yes, in elementary school, you may have seen this on Bill O'Reilly's show. Here it is.
It was an itsy-bitsy teeny-weeny yellow bottle bikini.
Honestly, why worry about math? On our college campuses in 2005, the last time a study of like this was done, 72% of professors identified themselves as liberal, 15% conservative, 72 to 15. And if anything, my guess is it's much, much worse right now. In our elite universities, yes, 87% of professors said that they were liberal. 87%, 13% conservative. Let me paraphrase the White House minions, David Axelrod and Rahm Emanuel and Robert Gibbs. That just doesn't seem right. All I'm saying is it's about perspective. I mean, what kind of fair perspective are we getting from our universities? In the art world, that's next. Art. The White House has enlisted the aid of the top artists in the country to push their agenda with your tax dollars. Here it is.
The president has a clear arts agenda and has been very supportive of using art and supporting art in creative ways to talk about some of the issues that we face here in our country. Continue to get involved in those things. To support some of the president's initiatives, but also to do things that we are passionate about and to push the president and push his administration.
Wow, to push the president and his administration. State-sponsored propaganda. You remember a couple of years ago when it was discovered that the Pentagon was using propaganda to try to win the hearts and minds of the people in Iraq and Afghanistan. The left was outraged. The evil George W. Bush, how dare him engage in propaganda? They're silent now as this president uses propaganda on his own people. You know, I went to a Broadway play this weekend with my wife, and it was great. It's called Memphis. It was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, except for the 2 songs in it about hope and change.
The music of
2.
Memphis gets into
They were about to have Glenn Head all over the audience. Rahm Emanuel and David Axelrod, let me ask you guys calling up Broadway producers now, asking them to help out with your agenda, the way Yossi Sargent did at the direction of Valerie Jarrett and Buffy Wicks? It sure wouldn't be unprecedented. Oh, no. Look at what the White House has accomplished with Service Week. All this week on television. We showed you last night Michelle Obama announcing